Glad you are with us on this Tuesday morning, and that means on the second Tuesday of the month, we have the update from the Holland Museum. The Executive Director, Ricki Levine, along with the Education and Community Programs Manager, Michelle Stempien, joining us via the Zoom connection. Ladies, good morning. Welcome back to Talk at the Town.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for having us.
Good morning.
Michelle will be chatting with us in a few moments. Ricki, of course, is the executive director. It's a Tuesday, which means the museum is closed to the general public, but the offices are open. 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday, Friday, and Saturdays. And the mask mandate is still in place at the museum, right, Ricki?
Well, actually, we have reduced the mandate. We've made it optional for most of the galleries. The only space that we do ask people to wear them is in our Spark Lab space, because we have kids that are too young to be vaccinated in some cases, and we just want to protect them as much as possible. The staff, the volunteers are still wearing masks, but the visitors can choose what is most comfortable for them.
Yesterday, of course, was the second Monday of the month, which means it would have been free. But the next one is coming up during Tulip Time on May the 9th, and 4 to 7 p.m. It's a case, I would think, Michelle, of people getting to know what the museum is all about.
Well, and I do hope that people who are in town for Tulip Time will stop by the museum any of the days that we're open. But yes, to especially recommend coming by on Monday, May 9th from 4 to 7, which is our free Second Mondays, which is sponsored by the Meyer Foundation. So that's a great time to come and check out what the museum has to offer.
Ricki mentioned it a few moments ago about masking up in Spark Lab. The Spark Lab part of the Holland Museum is a permanent part, courtesy of the Smithsonian Institution. And certainly that continues to be a very popular spot because not only for kids' activities, but it changes. I wouldn't say all the time, but let's put it this way. If somebody went to Spark Lab, say 6 months ago, they go now, might be a little different.
It will be different. We have switched around our activities for the spring. So we have you can invent a solution to help solve plastic pollution. It actually kind of rhymes. To help clean up our ocean. Help our clean up ocean activities. You can do that. You can explore animal habitats and create your very own in our Build a Habitat activity. And then also just test out your inventor skills during our Now What challenge. And the Spark Lab is open on the days that we're open to the public. So Mondays and Fridays from 1 to 5, and every Saturday from 11 to 3. And Spark Lab is included with museum admission. Of course, as we mentioned, if you come on our free Second Monday from 4 to 7, Spark Lab is also open during the free Second Mondays. And that is a great time for a family to come and check it out.
And I would also probably assume, and hopefully I'm not assuming incorrectly, Michelle, that the traveling Spark Labs, from special events from time to time, a little sample of Spark Labs will be at various places this spring and summer in the Holland area.
Yes, we do travel out to various locations and bring activities with us. We will be out at the Juneteenth celebration on June 18th. We will be at the Macatower Water Festival in August, and it's August 13th. And we will be bringing Spark Lab activities with us to those locations. So you can also check us out if you're there and learn a little bit more about Spark Lab and the museum and the houses and all the things that we have to offer.
One other thing about Spark Lab is the fact that you mentioned some of the activities, Michelle, is the fact that it ties in Earth Day is coming up pretty soon. So it has that ecological, to use a 1970s term in that regard.
Yes, and we are actually hosting an event on Earth Day, which is April 23rd. That's a Saturday from 1 to 3. So we will have Earth Day at the Holland Museum. You can do these activities in Spark Lab that I mentioned, but you can also create an upcycled planter with flowers to put in your house or in your yard. We have flowers and dirt being provided by Yonkers Gardens, and we really appreciate their support of us in this event. So we hope people will come to the museum on April 23rd from 1 to 3. It is included with admission. Check out Spark Lab, make a planter, and just learn a little bit more about how we can all protect the earth together.
We touched upon this the last time we had the museum people with us, and we're going to bring this back up now. The current featured exhibit at the Holland Museum, Contemporary Portraits of Native Americans, James Cook's exhibit. And first of all, either Ricki or Michelle, how has this exhibit been received by those who have visited the museum?
I think it's been really wonderfully received, and it should be. It is not only a beautiful exhibit in terms of the photographs and the images that James has selected to show in the gallery, but also because you learn about the people that he takes these portraits of. So he really gets to know the individuals as much as he can in the time that he's spent with them, and he explains in some cases what they're wearing and what that represents in terms of traditions or the native philosophies for some of those tribes. And it's beautiful. He's done this for decades. He's worked with indigenous people all over North America, but we're fortunate to have some that are very local to us as well. And that's really exciting to be able to tie it in to our community as well as the work he's done elsewhere.
Ricki, the exhibit has been on for a few weeks now, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, there has been some special programs to sort of spotlight this particular exhibit, and I would think that those who have attended it, be it virtually or be it in person, really got to know even more about the exhibit than what they actually saw.
Absolutely, and they got to know a little bit more about James Cook because he did two of the programs we did, talking about his process, talking about his work. So yeah, you really got an in-depth knowledge of both the photographs as well as the people that he photographed. And those, by the way, those two by James Cook were virtual. They're recorded and they're on our website. So if you weren't able to join us the night of those programs, you can still get a deeper dive into his work, which is really wonderful. That's the upside about COVID, the virtual programs.
And of course, the website is hollandmuseum.org, hollandmuseum.org. How long is the exhibit going to be running?
It runs through June 20th. So you have a little bit more time. It will be up during tulip time and a little bit beyond.
Okay, and of course, programs and exhibits such as this, you got one going that's just nice, and then of course you have to start planning for the next one. And I don't want to ask about any, I don't want to, let the cats out of the bag, so to say, but I would assume the next exhibit for the rest of the summer will be one that will be of big interest and future discussion points when we have our friends from the museum.
Absolutely. We're always planning ahead, Gary.
If you got a question about the museum, Ricki Levine, Michelle Stempien, 616-395-1450. Michelle, speaking about programs, we got one coming up in a couple of days. Tell us all about it.
Yes, we are really excited about this program, and it is in connection with the exhibit that Ricki was just talking about, the Contemporary Portraits of Native Americans by James Cook. And this, we are going to be showing a documentary, a relatively new documentary entitled Warrior Lawyers, Defenders of Sacred Justice, which is the filmmaker is Audrey Geyer, who is a Michigan filmmaker, who is also a member of the Native community. And excuse me, the film will be focusing on the stories of Michigan Native American lawyers and tribal judges. And so we will be able to get a really in-depth look at the tribal justice system, which I think is something that a lot of people really do not know about. So we're excited to show the film. It is free. It's this Thursday, the 14th. It'll start at 7:00. Following the film, which is about an hour long, we will have a Q&A and discussion with the filmmaker, Audrey Geyer, who is going to be here in Holland and will be at the museum. So this is an in-person program, and it will take place in the Spark Lab at the Holland Museum.
And of course, in that situation, it's free, but donations certainly are certainly welcome in that particular aspect of it. And people think law is law, but these Indian groups, they have they're sovereign nations, and what we think of as American law is not the same, perhaps, in their mind. So it's really a case of enlightenment more than anything else, Michelle.
Yes, I think people will learn a great deal about a subject that we know very little about, and it's an important subject that we know about. So I hope people will come and see it.
And one other program, we talked a little bit about the Earth Day program a little bit earlier. It'd be the 23rd from 1 to 3 p.m., Earth Day at the museum. The other program coming up is on Thursday, May the 5th, and it ties in, of course, with the fact that Tulip Time will be starting a couple of days later. When did Tulip Time start? How does this entire ball of wax get going? And indeed, the program on the 5th will certainly shed some light on the origins of the Tulip Time Festival.
Yes, I love the idea of doing a program about Tulip Time just before Tulip Time starts. So um, this will, again, will be an in-person program. It will be at the Holland Museum in our Spark Lab Thursday, May 5th at 7 o'clock. We will be featuring Deb Shakel, who is probably well known to many people in Holland, but she will be doing a first-person interpretation in that she will be Lyda Rogers, who is the founder of Tulip Time. And so she is a Holland biology teacher who inspired the festival as we know it today. So her presentation will cover Lyda's early life, the history of Tulip Time, and her other interests in terms of botany and the work that she did with her students around Holland. So I really hope people will come. Again, this is a free program and donations are encouraged, but to learn a little bit about the history of Tulip Time before you actually attend the event.
I kind of wonder, and this is a time when I wish that Juke was still with us, where I kind of wonder how Ms. Rogers would think about Tulip Time now, what it has become. And maybe Deborah Shakel will be able to sort of give her interpretations of Tulip Time 2022 when it started off so modestly, almost 90 some years ago, and how it's evolved into what it is today. I just be kind of curious how she would have thought about this.
I think she'll be able to give us some insight into maybe how Lyda might have felt about today. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this event would have been in the eyes of those who had started it just to celebrate the flower of Holland, and now become the flower of Holland. Ricki, I know that when the museum comes saying we need some financial help, people say, well, they back off a little bit, but a lot of other people say this is a civic jewel that we need to preserve. So fundraising is certainly something that needs to be done, but it doesn't necessarily have to be painful. It can be fun, such as what's going on April 28th. Tell us all about it, Ricki.
Happy to. So, we were talking about all these programs that we're offering for free. Yes, we ask for donations. Some people are generous about it. Some people can't be, and that's fine because we really want to be accessible to everyone. But they come at a cost. Some, people speaking or some of our activities cost money. So we try to make our fundraisers relevant to our mission. We also try to make them, as you said, Gary, fun. And we are so excited because we've been on hiatus for in-person fundraisers, as so many other nonprofits have been for the last couple of years. And our History Mystery Trivia Night is back. And it's April 28th, which is next week. Sorry, it's 2 weeks from now. But we need to know who's coming by the end of this week. So we can order food and beverages and set up the table. So the way it works is it is absolutely free to attend this. You just need to let us know you're coming. And what we do hope during the program, you'll learn about the museum. You play 3 rounds of trivia. You compete with other tables. You could win prizes. And then you also get to be moved by what we're doing and support the museum with a donation. And that's the hope. And so you're coming for dinner. What would you spend for dinner and drinks if you went out to a local restaurant? And then think about that as in terms of your base for a donation. Some people can be more generous, which is wonderful. And some people are doing it, corresponding to what the value of the evening is for them. It's entertainment, it's food and drinks, and it's fun. And you're going to be with other people.
The other thing, too, a part of that, there's a mental challenge to it. but there's a physical challenge as well. No, we're not telling you to, drop and give me 50. No, it's a different type of physical challenge.
Yeah, you're right. It's both mental and physical. So the mental part comes in two ways. It is trivia night rounds, and we're asking history questions. Some of them will be local history. Some of them will be a little bit broader. So you don't need to be somebody who grew up in Holland to be able to participate and have fun. The other part is, and it ties into our Spark Lab initiative, because that's so much fun, not just for children, but for adults as well. And we will give you a challenge. And every table will be competing against other tables to create something with the kind of recycled materials that you're going to find on your table. And we have had the most innovative, fun activities and results of those activities over the last several years that we've been doing this. And they will be judged, and then the winner will get a prize.
It sounds like a fun thing. You said you need a deadline. What's the deadline for RSVPing on this, Ricki?
Friday this week. So the 15th, we really would like to know if you're planning on attending, and we can find a good table for you. If you don't have a table of 8 already, we will make sure you're with a lot of other fun people. And there will always be somebody at your table to guide you through the process, so you know exactly what to do and how to do it.
The reason why I'm bringing it up because there's some urgency. Call the museum, 616-796-3329. 616-796-3329. Ask for Katie Baker. She was with us this past Thursday with the Wellspring program. Katie's been with us in the past before on Talk of the Town. She's the one coordinating that. Or you can go online to hollandmuseum.org and let Katie know that you are coming. And of course, next month when we have our museum update, we'll talk a little bit about the Museum on Tap fundraiser that's coming up on June the 3rd. Also at the Armory. And we've mentioned before, the Holland Museum is open on Mondays, on Fridays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. And again, the website is hollandmuseum.org. That's hollandmuseum.org. And the phone number again, not only to RSVP for the trivia night, but also about what's going on at the museum, 616-796-3329. 616-796-3329. Ricki Levine, Michelle Stempien, as always, we appreciate the time, letting us know what's going on in the museum. And I think we are going to break our final non-normal thing. We're going to give away passes to the museum next month when you guys come in. We will test people's knowledge about Holland history. Not too challenging. After all, I am not Myman Bialik, or this is not Jeopardy, but we'll give away the passes next month. Michelle, Ricki, thank you very much. We'll talk next month.
Thanks, Gary. Have a great month.
Thanks for having us.
That is our Holland Museum update on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.